Today, we're going to be simulating a mini wildfire in a forest to demonstrate just how dangerous wildfires are. I am using a metal pot to store my forest and for safety purposes. In this metal pot, I have some paper towels at the bottom to represent my soil, because when I pour water later in the video, the paper towel will absorb the water, just like soil. On top of the paper, I have lots of hay, which is to represent dried grass. In a hotter climate, there is lots of dried grass in forests. Finally, I am picking off some cotton from Q-tips to represent a tree. This demonstration is what happens if a lightning strikes a tree in the middle of a hot area in a forest. And I'm going to be using a torch as the lightning. So now I'm going to strike lightning to this tree. I light the cotton on fire. Now, at first, the fire isn't that big, but as it shreds through the forest, it gets bigger and burns more. All this forested area is getting absolutely demolished. Now, let's say that the government steps in at this time and pours out a lot of their water supply. Even with that much water, the fire is not put out. It continues to wreak havoc, destroying the habitat and our homes. Now, I'm going to pour out the rest of the water. And just like that, the government's water supply is gone and many homes are demolished. If only it had been quicker. Now let's say the government steps in quite early. The same thing is going to happen. Lightning strikes the tree in a hot climate. As soon as the forest starts burning, the government steps in and pours out the same amount of water as before. Now the fire is gone, the forest is saved, and the world lived happily ever after. Even though in both scenarios, both governments used the same amount of water, this time they were quicker, thus saving more lives. And finally, just as a fun last experiment, what happens if no one steps in? What happens if the government doesn't care? Now the fire starts to wreak havoc again. Remember, this all started from when a lightning strikes a tree. Now it shreds through the forest again, ruining the homes of many animals and destroying the houses of many residents. And even though, after a while, the fire does indeed go out naturally, half of the forest is already decimated to the point where even Bob the Builder can't fix that disaster. And remember, all of this started from a small fire, and that is why wildfires are so dangerous.